Okay, welcome to Dad, Daughters, and Drinks. I actually have a daughter with me this time. One of my three, the middle one, Lilly. I am the Margarita Kid. And we are here to react to Ice Nine Kills. Thank God it's Friday. I checked this time. There's no extended edition. It looks like starting on this second one, they stopped putting just the regular music video and have the full story thing. So I have not seen this before. Lily has no idea what I'm talking about right now. So I'm going to bring her up to speed. And so here's the deal. Ice Nine Kills in 2018 came out with an album called The Silver Scream. And each song is based off of like a horror film.
Okay.
And so they've made a series of videos that are kind of a long story, that each video is one of the songs that kind of, I think, incorporates different aspects of these different movies.
Cool. So which horror movie is this one based on?
Well, since it's called Thank God It's Friday, I'm guessing it's Friday the 13th.
Ah, that makes sense.
But I don't know. I haven't researched any of this, and in fact, this all started for me. Miriam recommended, that's my oldest daughter, that I watch one called It Is the End, which she had never seen any of the videos. She just liked the song. And it turns out that was part 5 of the series. And I'm not sure if that's the last one or not, but then there was a comment in that video that said, hey, you should go back and watch 1 through 4. So I just got done uploading 1, which was called American Nightmare, based on Nightmare on Elm Street. Mm-hmm. And so I'll tell you what happened in that video. I don't want to give anything away from part 5. But part 1, so spoilers, if you haven't seen part 1, stop now, go watch it. Part 1 is there's a guy who's like a psychologist or something, and he got as a client a singer for a band, Ice Nine Kills, named Spencer, who it seems as though this guy's been having some troubles. There's all these people dying all around town from suicide, and he's telling the psychiatrist or psychologist, I think, that, and that becomes important a little bit, that he's been having these nightmares about a girl that's having nightmares about this entity that's getting in people's dreams and having them commit suicide, right? So now the psychologist's belief is this guy, and that's the video, is the girl that he's dreaming about. She's fighting with, Freddy Krueger type thing that's attacking her in her dream. She's getting hurt in real life. At the very end, she goes kind of mano a mano with Freddy Krueger in the dream, and then the video ends, or at least the music part does. In the story, the psychologist is thinking, okay, I think the singer is probably actually a serial killer, right? Because he keeps dreaming that these people are dying, and then they actually die in real life. And so he's probably the one who's actually doing it. Whether he knows it or not is unclear.
Yeah.
Right? And so he brings in this psychiatrist from across the hall who can actually prescribe medications. That's one of the main differences, I think, between the two.
I know, I'm a psych major.
Okay, so see, this is what I got to put up with. This is why I drink. By the way, Dad, Daughters, Drinks. Today, this is the Tupps Full Grown Jack. It's a stout with some pumpkin spices in it from Tupps Brewery. Very good.
Cheers.
Cheers. Anyway, so he brings her in. She writes him a prescription for some diazepam, which is what, Valium?
Antipsychotic, yeah.
It's Valium, right?
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, it's Valium.
Okay.
Ren's got a song called Diazepam, so I had looked that up before. Right, I think it's Valium. Maybe it's Xanax. I think it's Valium. In any case, I looked it up, but that doesn't mean I remember. He also stole some of her blank prescriptions as well.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of how the video ended.
It's a benzo.
Well, that doesn't... I just want to know which the brand.
Valium.
It is Valium. Okay. All right. So now we're going into video 2. So I assume there's going to be some story. There's always this guy who's like the reporter that kind of sets the scene on things. So we'll see how well it ties together. You ready? Mm-hmm. And if you want to pause it all, just hit the space bar.
Okay.
Thanks, Gene. It happened here late last night. 7 mutilated bodies found strewn about the 300-acre Texas campground behind me. An idyllic summer setting turned to tragedy.
So yeah, Friday the 13th took place at a park for kids, like a summer camp.
A mere 24 hours after children went home for the season. Authorities are baffled by the lack of leads, having recovered only a machete with no discernible fingerprints. Reporting live from San Antonio, I'm Roy Merkin. Back to you, Gene.
Welcome back, Smash.
And just so you're aware that the music style is metalcore. So you may not be able to understand what they're saying. Or maybe you can. I typically can't. My ears are old, as you know.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
Mm-hmm.
Take a seat. How's the tour been so far?
Texas was pretty cool. We went to San Antonio. I tried to piss on the Alamo, but we ran out of time. Trying to do like an Aussie thing, you know?
The sense there's a butt coming.
Well, the dreams are still there.
Even with the diazepam.
Yeah. It lasted for about a week, I want to say. But then as soon as the tour started...
The same imagery as before with the girl?
No. Well, the girl is there, but there's another girl who looks a lot like your colleague, Dr. Stonebridge. And now I'm in the dream, and my band is too.
It's an interesting change. What are you doing?
It's really weird.
Now, just as an aside for something I forgot to mention before, the psychologist, I think he wants to get some research published, and like his like college, I don't think he has a friend or a nemesis, but they had like this phone call, and the guy's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I published before you," and the guy's like, "Oh, no, that's fine." He hung up.
No, they're nemesis.
Yeah, they're nemesis kind of thing, right? Yeah, and so he views this guy. In fact, when he brought in the psychiatrist, he's like, how valuable do you think, he's like, all the serial killer research that's been in the past is like after the fact, but what do you think it would be like having sessions with the serial killer while they're still serial killing? And while she clearly had ethical concerns,
Yeah, that's an ethical mess.
it is an ethical mess, and obviously there's no proof that he's doing it, but
Yeah.
this guy suspects it, so I think he's trying to, you know, get in the mind of the serial killer while the guy's actually still serial killing.
This is kind of like reverse Hannibal.
I'd have to think about that, maybe. Yeah.
Weird. But we're all camp counselors, and we're shutting down this camp because it's the end of the season. And we start to hear these voices from dead counselors of the past, ghosts really. And they're telling us, or warning us rather, that death is coming.
Drowning our mistakes, fueled by the flood we pay in blood, the curse of Crystal Lake.
Now, I think this girl that's there was actually the girl from the first video.
God, it's Friday. Drowning all our sins, drowning all mistakes, fueled by the flood we pay in blood, the curse of Crystal Lake. He's down and deep within, we found there's no escape. You just scratched the surface of the curse of Crystal Lake. Conscious, we were lied to rest, drinking six crazy nightmares. You didn't look like that something blocks away. We lied the hard way, waiting for our lives on the mountain. Did you know my son drowned in this lake? He should have been supervised, but the counselors were off having filthy sex. His name was Jason, and today is his birthday. Erase him right, and he'll come out to play.
Now, if you remember, you've seen Scream, right? Do you remember who it is that dies from serial killers like this in the movies? Or who doesn't die?
The teenagers who have...
Who doesn't die?
Who doesn't die? The final girl.
No, it's the virgins.
Yeah.
Well, that's usually the final girl's the virgin, right? I don't know if that holds true for all these things, but I think, you start getting busy, you're going to get whacked. That's how that works. Now, what do you think of the music?
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah. I wish there were subtitles, though.
I didn't even think to try that.
No, they don't. It's a grayed out. Yeah, they hate us.
Yeah, like I said. Well, the first one, I didn't have any subtitles or anything. And I ended up going back after the fact and reading the lyrics. And I did the same for the second. Actually, the second one, I tried having them up, but it was too confusing for me, I think, to try and keep looking over and figuring out where I was. So I think from now on, I might actually read the lyrics beforehand.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it would ruin my experience of this.
Yeah.
And it's not like the lyrics are so directly tied to the story that it'll be like... Spoilers or something, yeah. So
I've never seen Friday the 13th, so I wonder how many references
it's absolutely super similar.
Okay.
So it was I'm pretty sure it was at Crystal Lake Camp.
Yeah.
The killer was a guy who was drowned when the counselors weren't paying attention. The mom is I don't remember if the mom's involved somehow. Is she actually anyway? And there was the guy does come back with the machete. So all of this does seem to be following pretty well. Now, I haven't seen this in a long time, so if I get any details wrong, sorry. But yeah, I think, and I'm assuming a lot of their music is like this, but it sounds like it's all very kind of theatrical in kind of the chord changes and the way it jumps around to different, I'm not sure exactly the word I'm looking for, but almost like an Imagine Dragons thing. It's got this kind of thematic quality to it, if that makes sense. I don't know if you felt that way or not, but
I wouldn't have come up with the Imagine Dragons comparison.
well, it's not that it sounds like them, but you know how they are, it's very dramatic. You could probably see a lot of their music to videos or something of stuff happening because it's.
Have you ever seen the Radioactive music video?
I have not.
It is so fun.
I'll have to react to that.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, back to the music. Just click on it. I lost the video. I dig the strings and everything in the background too. That's kind of what I meant, is stuff like that gives a little something. Anyway.
That's real improvement, isn't it? I mean, all of the protagonists survive this time.
Well, I didn't finish the story yet.
Go
that may happen in the movie. I think that happens in the movie as well, where they go out in a boat and they think they're safe, and then he comes out of the water. So this is pretty parallel.
Well,
Never
it's not
mind.
exactly the soothing kind of story that helps with uninterrupted sleep now, is it?
No, it isn't. Can we maybe get Dr. Stonebridge to up my dosage of diazepam? Just to get through the tour, maybe? I haven't had a full night's sleep in a week now.
Well, Spencer, as much as that may seem like the solution, it's better to get to the bottom of what's causing the anxiety rather than to use these drugs. They can be highly addictive, you know. Did the dream start when you sought out Dr. Michelson 2 years ago? And what was going on then?
It goes a lot further back than that.
So as another aside, he had come from a different shrink he had been seeing for 2 years, but for some reason the notes have never come from that doctor to this one. So this new one he's going in completely fresh.
I mean, so then the narrative of this, they just start him off with diazepam and nothing else?
Well, we're not going to get into it too much, Lily, okay?
That's just not realistic.
Yeah, it's a music video.
How far?
Since I was a little kid.
Interesting. And does your childhood stand out as being the source of the anxiety?
No, I mean, I had a pretty normal upbringing, nothing special, nothing crazy. Nothing really sticks out. Are we doing okay on time? Looks like we're almost at the 1 hour mark.
Well, sure, but I have
I don't want
plenty
to do
of
that.
time.
It's not fair to go over. I'm recording in LA next week, so let's say the week after that, and then we could sort of get to the bottom of this, take it from there.
Fair enough. Well, why don't you just see Karen on the way out, and we'll set up a time for us to get to the bottom of this, okay?
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Spencer.
See you in 2 weeks.
Knock, knock.
You know you're supposed to knock on the outside of the door.
Hypothetically speaking, what are my responsibilities to law enforcement? You know, if I believed one of my patients may actually have killed someone.
Well, we can go to law enforcement if the patient has specifically said that they had or planned to commit a murder. But short of an outright admission, what is discussed is between patient and doctor confidentiality either way.
I feel like this is a conversation that wouldn't need to be happening. Like, this guy's going to know this stuff if he's seeing patients.
Yeah, well, he clearly hasn't been to school in a while, so maybe it's rusty.
I see. Okay. It's funny how you were so, like, all over the medicine, but this part you're like, yeah.
I know, but just like, benzos are typically a last resort medication because they're so addictive. Like, if it's just anxiety, insomnia, they usually start with, like, trazodone or something.
Okay. Well, maybe they should bring you on as a consultant for their next video series.
I'm not qualified.
Well, clearly whoever did this wasn't either.
That's a really specific question, Ian. I mean, should we go to counsel or...
No, I mean, not at all. It was purely a hypothetical question. Only intellectual, in fact, you know. It's, what is that? Kale salad. Ugh.
It seems like he's up to no good. It seems like he's up to no good.
Definitely not.
I don't know. I'll have to look and see what the next video is.
I have a theory.
What's your theory?
Obviously, he was lying, and his childhood was not normal. So the next one is going to be like Chucky or...
Did he say his childhood was normal?
Yeah,
I
like,
thought he said the
the-
dreams went back to when he was a child.
He said the dreams went back to when he was a child. He was like, okay, what's your childhood like? And he was like, oh, it was normal, bye.
Yeah. So you think the next one's going to be something child-related?
Yeah.
Chucky?
Chucky, Children of the Corn. I don't know.
Have you seen Children of the
I
Corn?
have.
That's an interesting... that would be funny if that's what they picked.
Yeah.
There was... so, as a different aside, they had a 2015 album, and I forget what it's called, but apparently it's based on a lot of novels. I don't know if the whole album is, or if it was just one song that somebody recommended in comments, but in the first video, the guy was wearing, it was a Nice Nine Kills shirt, and it had like the two little twin girls from The Shining. You're kind of familiar with them, right?
I've seen The Shining.
So you've seen The Shining. So there's the two little girls, except it was like a black and white kind of T-shirt, and their faces were replaced with like skull things, but it was clearly them based on their little dresses. So I do wonder if there's going to be a Shining. I don't know if that, it's an interesting, because if they had one album on books and another one on like horror movies, if like they might have something that was both. Right? Just curious.
That would be interesting.
Anyway, anything else you got to say? What do you think of the song and the video?
It was good, yeah.
I've really enjoyed it. Not the kind of music I normally listen to, but I'm actually enjoying it. I think the lyrics are good, and I think there's a lot of variety in the songs. Right, so it's not just the same thing over and over again. It's jumping back and forth. You've got, kind of different vocal styles. There's the screaming, there's the singing, there's kind of sometimes some chanting type stuff.
It's very like dynamic.
It is very dynamic, and I think I like that. I like that a lot. So anyway, thumbs up for me. Everybody, have a good day.